Right.
Thanks, Nuke.
TOS be damned.
Wow.
I'm glad Chesty is still here.
The dancing Tates. I love it. Love it.
I love the Manosphere. Like, you can hate the Manosphere, or you can just not take it seriously. And
That's
enjoy
right.
it.
Be light on your feet, gentlemen.
Oh yeah, that's the point where we have gotten.
How can you take this space seriously? You go crazy if you take this shit seriously. You gotta have fun.
You gotta accomplish things in real life around it. That's for sure.
It's called game for a reason.
Yeah, you gotta have fun, or else you'll go crazy.
By the way, good to see you, Dave.
Hey,
Good show today. Good show today.
Oh, thanks.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
gaming industry, man. What's going on over there? What the fuck?
Well, it's not when I'm having fun, is it?
No.
Dude,
Jesus.
like that girl that got mad because what was it that people were like mean to her on a Call of Duty game or something?
Yeah, I said some. I think it was Apex or something like that. But yeah,
Even worse,
got mad.
Apex. Come on, Jesus Christ.
yeah.
But
You can't say grape on these, or it's the worst thing in the world.
well, I mean, it was funny how he said it, but it's like it always is a bit of a touchy subject. It's like
It is.
struggle hugging. Struggle hugging. It's a bit of a dangerous topic. But speaking of topic, because we got Chesty here, and Chesty's time is valuable and more valuable to hang out with us schmucks here. So let's not waste his time. Dante, you want to lead the way on this one?
Sure. So Chesty's been around for a while, and I realized nobody has bothered to ask the man, like, how did we get here? How did this men's associations start to come about? And why is it the way it is? Did it succeed? Did it fail? And what did we learn so far, or haven't learned so far? So I thought we could, I thought that would be a better use of Chesty's time. And because those younger guys like Nuke and Jack are probably like the torchbearers now of what's going to be the future of this thing.
You are
So-
all fucked.
Yeah, you guys are fucked.
So I thought this would be an instructive like exercise to learn, like research, to understand where we came from, where we're headed, and like some like pitfalls of what's happened. So that's why I wanted to bring this up. Hopefully we get something out of it.
Yeah.
So, Chest, where did it all begin?
Okay, well, as a preface, I think I'm going to stick to the modern, wireman bitching portion of the program, as opposed to getting into depth of why have men and women always been at each other's throats for one reason or another since the beginning of time, and how has that been organized, and how have the sexes dealt with it separately. You don't have enough time today to get into both the organization of men's spaces and certain rights groups that actively work to try and change things but are ineffective to doing that. So what I'll do is I'll focus on the losers of the equation today, and we'll discuss the history and some of the attempts on the part of the men's rights activist movement, or the men's human rights movement, as they like to call themselves nowadays, how they began, where did the first language discussing men's rights in Western culture start, where it's gone, who are some of the larger influencers in that area at this point in time, and how does the red pill differentiate itself from that, in the words of some of the older MRA guys, and which is kind of funny, because what I'm finding now is that everybody wants to co-op red pill. They want to use the term, they want to use the analogy, they want to say, well, it's just a search for truth. No, we're rule zero. It's men's sexual strategy, men's sexual health, and attaining that strategy. That's it. That's the goal. That's the promise. It's not an ideology. It's not anything to try and save the world or save the West. It's for men to save themselves. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, we have the people who have attempting now to insert themselves. I just saw a tweet the other day, or a post, whatever we like to call it, on X/Twitter nowadays, from Mr. Voice for Men himself, Paul Elam, who said, "I'm an OG in the red pill space, and you should listen to some of the things I have to say." And our response to that was, "Paul, fuck off. You know nothing about the red pill space. You are a men's rights activist. You have been the sad Santa, shit in the punch bowl this whole entire time. And, your no fun having unattractive ass does not need to be associated with us in any way, shape, or form. And don't try and claim that you have been." So this is kind of his history more than anything else. The guys who looked at the world and said, "Women have it too good. What about us boys?" So I'll get into the brief history of the men's rights movement, and I'll go through try to be a brief timeline so we can discuss some of the things that they tried to accomplish.
I need the intro music from Lord of the Rings on this one, like.
Yeah.
I was there, Gandalf. I was there.
That's right.
The world is
changed.
Yes.
I can feel it in the water. I can smell it in the air.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed for you.
Back when elves and humans coexisted and wore rings of power. Yeah, no, none of that. But
3 were given to the MRAs.
Yes, exactly. And it all went wrong from there. So the men's rights movement can be defined just like the feminist movement into waves. Generally, there are 2 major waves that are identified by MRAs themselves and by certain historians of sociology when it comes to sexual sociology. So the first wave of the men's rights movement is what people like to call the awareness. I'm sorry, the awareness wave, and it's from 1856 to 1998.
Jeez,
So,
that's a long time.
Just let me try and calm down a bit so I can read this stuff without laughing too hard. And what I'll provide for the guys here, if anybody wants to know, I can give links to some of these articles, because I don't research things without actually having a physical form of many of these things, or at least an internet source that confirms, what I'm talking about. If it's written print, if I can get a whole copy of something, I'll have the source available for it where you can look for these types of things. Because, there's no reason for me to talk out of my ass on a subject and make shit up when people have made asses of themselves, in print for ages, and I don't have to do any of that work for them. So we start in 1856. There was a long newspaper article entitled "A Word for Men's Rights," and it was published in a New York monthly, basically like a journal or a magazine at the time. It was called Putnam's Monthly. Putnam's was a very influential company at the time. Gave social commentary, business advice, those types of things. And in Putnam's Monthly, they discussed sexist laws that oppressed men and benefited women, including the practice of frivolous, unjust lawsuits for supposed breach of marriage promise. It was what they used to call it was the heart balm industry. Essentially, what would happen is that a guy would date a girl a couple of times. A girl would find an unethical attorney, and they would file a lawsuit against the man for damages for promise of marriage. And hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women would hire these attorneys, particularly in the state of New York, seeking monetary damages for a marriage that they were promised that didn't happen. So essentially, businessmen were put off on the idea of dating for a long time because they didn't want to have to pay damages to a woman to date her. They found it to be akin to prostitution and completely unfair to men. So that's the first article where the words men's rights were connected with a social problem at the time or a problem with the law. Okay. Next year, 1857, a gentleman by the name of last name of Todd proposed a men's rights conference to be held in response to exaggerations.
Oh my
of
God.
women's
There
rights.
we go.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Dear God.
Yes, the circus is already come to fucking town. You got it. Yep. So, literally a year after that article was published, and some people were looking into other things that they found to be unfair with marriage and other issues at the time, including the nascent suffragette movement. This guy already wanted to put together a men's rights conference with an agenda and everything else. So, in 1875, the next major event was an article entitled Women's and Men's Rights. It appeared in the 1875 volume of Historic and Literary Miscellany by a gentleman by the name of GMD Bloss. Mm-hmm. And in this was also a commentary on the fact that in many instances, rated law. Okay. Then we get the first Rollo Tomassi of the men's rights movement. In 1886, there was a gentleman by the name of Ernest Belfort Bax in England who wrote his first major commentary on gynocentrism and misandry, and it was called Some Bourgeois Ideals, or Ideals, Reals, and Shams. And it was basically an article again on how unfairly the law treated men in reference to women, and that women in many instances, because they did not have to fight in wars, they did not have to register for certain things that had to do with citizenry in England, that they received fairer treatment in many cases than men did. You'll hear this name come up quite often. That's why I kind of prefaced it with he was kind of the first prolific writer for the men's rights movement way back in 1886. Okay, and then 1890 rolls around. New York City formed the first New York Alimony Club. It was a group of dudes. Group of dudes who were pissed off by the fact that they had to pay alimony, even in some instances, to women who had committed adultery. Okay. And then in 1896, Mr. Belfort Bax, that I already discussed, co-authored a book called The Legal Subjugation of Men. Again, just a gigantic bitch fest that he wrote with an Irish attorney or barrister at the time, detailing in about 150 pages all of the different laws that were favorable to women back in Great Britain. In 1896, same year, a little bit later here in America, the Anti-Bardell Bachelor Band, literally a band and a group of poets in Georgia, they formed together to fight against a national campaign headed by feminist activist Charlotte Smith of the Women's Rescue League to promote a tax on bachelors. Another similar effort was made by the Hoboken Bachelors Club in Hoboken, New Jersey, to also fight a tax on bachelors. What they basically wanted to do is they wanted to force men to marry, and essentially they wanted to tax any bachelors who were cohabitating with women in an exorbitant amount of money to make that union official.
Sounds familiar
already. Yeah.
Yep. Hey, this stuff's been what's old is new again. 1898. The League for Men's Rights was formed by Mr. William Austin in London. The movement reported in newspapers at the time to be a genuine men's rights movement. So this language is coming up repeatedly already at the turn of the century. And then Mr. Ernest Belfort Bax again in 1908, that 1896 book, The Legal Subjugation of Men, with some updates in legislation at the time. The book ended up being longer because he felt that the changes made his life worse. The Anti-Alimony Association for the entire state of New York was formed in 1911. 1912, Ernest Bax again writes another book called The Fraud of Feminism, in which he called feminism a fraud and discussed female privilege based on a gynocentric social order. Anybody ever said that you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 1912, still, the Anti-Alimony League was formed in Denver, Colorado, and it was headed up by a guy named George Esterling. 1925, Samuel Reed, a gentleman from California, wrote an article for the LA Times, called himself Alimony Sam, and that he is considered,
Oh my God.
and he is considered the alimony martyr of California because of the amount of money he had to pay to his ex.
Damn. How much money was it? Do you have that there?
I can link the article to you, and you can look through it. Literally, I had to do 2.5-3 hours of research, and I didn't go through every single tooth and comb of everything. But it does discuss his trials and tribulations. Obviously,
You spent 2 to 3 hours on this for us? God
of course.
damn. Thank
I
you.
think it's because nobody bothered to ask.
Well, part of it too is that if you're going to bring up a subject like this, it has to be right. It has to be beyond reproach. If somebody says, well, this guy doesn't do his research, and you said, fuck that, and listen to the transcript, and he goes through in specific detail all of these different events in history, and that most of these events in history are also backed by the men's rights activists themselves, because they're pissed off that the contemporary view of men's rights is supposed to have begun with Warren Farrell back in the 70s. Because if you look at the Wikipedia article on men's rights activism, it basically starts in like 1972. And it's complete horseshit. It minimizes the actual struggle that men may have, and it completely erases this this former history that it's all there in the written record. I mean, if anybody wants to go and look for it, but nobody wants to look for it because they simply think that the men's rights movement was started by a butthurt Farrell, who was Warren Farrell at the time was a feminist who worked with the National Organization for Women, and he was infatuated with Gloria Steinem. I'm infatuated with Gloria Steinem. She's fucking hot. But he was married at the time, and he and his wife ended up getting a divorce, and he completely changed his view on whether or not there were equal rights between the sexes as a consequence of his own divorce. So that's why he is considered to be, the first, real MRA, quote unquote MRA by everybody, is because it was very public and it was out there. And all of the Wikipedia writers start their timeline based on that because of the books that he wrote, talking about misandry. And it's horseshit. It started way before then, as you're already hearing from me. So let's move to 1926 still. You find that a lot of this stuff happens between wars. You notice that?
Ooh. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I get it.
So you have these peacetime areas where women try to horn in on society and develop strong ties. This is going to be actually very funny for you because it's going to also describe one of the issues with the men's rights movement that they've had problems with. And I'll read this to you and see if you can recognize it. Okay, so 1926, the men's right organization was formed in Vienna called the Bund für Mannenrecht, a club for men. Founded by Sigurd von Hobarth and Leopold Kornblue in March. In January of 27, the Bund split into two organizations called Equitas and Justica. One of them is Hobarth and the other is Kornblue. So this develops here, and let's pay attention real quick. Okay. They formed a group in 1926 called Themis Verbandis, which Themis is obviously female in there. If you know your Greek, it's a men's right organization for female members that Sigurd Hobarth, as you remember from the previous entry with the Bund für Mannenrecht, he founded this organization. Okay, so in 1927, 1 year later, the Equitas Weltbund für Menschenrecht, that's the Equitas World Federation for Men's Rights, followed a schism in the Bund für Menschenrecht.
Oh,
Okay.
Yep. This was Sigurd Hobarth's new organization for men's rights, which welcomed female members.
Oh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Again in 1927, Justicia, Verein für Männer und Familienrecht, yes, Justice Society for Men's Rights and Family Rights in Vienna, was founded by Kornbluth, the other guy from the Bund für Menschenrecht, remember? Following a schism in the Bund, this group did not allow female members. So what happened immediately when you started adding female members to a men's only rights group? It split into two. That one that allowed women and one that didn't allow women. So you're already at the women weaseling their way into a men's space, and it fucks it up immediately. Still in 1927, the Alimony Club of Illinois, Society of Disgruntled Alimony Payers in Chicago, was founded by a Dr. Vernon B. Cooley and his second wife, Mrs. Bessie Cooley. Now, you can understand why the second wife was upset about the alimony payments to the first wife of her doctor husband.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Still in 1927, Alimony Payers Protective Association was led by a gentleman by name of Robert Guilford Eckub. That was attempted to be a nationwide association. It failed. The Milwaukee Alimony Club was formed in 27. The 50-50 League out of London, talking about the split of equitable marital assets, printed a manifesto called The Sex War in 1927. 1928, the Tibet Men's Rights Organization was founded by a monk in Tibet.
Oh my God.
Yep. Yep.
this shit is global. Why do you think it resonates? Why do you think TRP
Tibet?
resonated with so many people?
Freaking
Yeah,
some
even-
guy in the fucking mountains like this. Oh man.
Why do you think he went to the mountains? Women and shit.
That's the first monk mode ever recorded.
Yes, the original OG monk mode. That's right. 1920. He really went his own way up into the goddamn mountains.
Yeah, at least he lived up to it, you know.
Exactly. Well, no, he didn't, because he formed a men's rights organization.
Oh, well,
Okay, 1929. The World's League for the Rights of Men was formed in the UK, advocating for male issues and holding an anti-ultra-feminist stance. The league had chapters in Vienna, Berlin, Munich, and other continental centers. There's also one in Warsaw, if I remember correctly. 1930, the DAM Association, DAM standing for Defense Against Misandry, founded by French L. Nelson in Kansas City, Missouri, 1930. 1930, also the National Sociological League had a men's section. The executive secretary of that men's section at the time was Dr. Alexander Dalek. 1931, organization, the Modern Men's Rights Movement, publishes a broadsheet, meaning a list of demands called the Gauntlet, outlining goals
Oh my
for gender
God.
equality, outlining goals for gender equality and emancipation of man from feminist domination. 1931, guys. We're
boy.
not very original.
Mm-mm.
1932, Alimony Club of New York County was reformed by a Polish gentleman by the name of Adolf Wodiska. 1932, the Ohio Alimony Association was formed in Cleveland. 1933, National Divorce Reform League was created by an attorney named Theodore Epstein. Also 1933, Men's Rights Organization, the 1933 Men's Association, was started by Lieutenant Colonel R.A. Broughton in England to deal with issues of soldiers' property being misappropriated by wives and girlfriends.
Oh my God, that long ago. Holy
Hey,
shit.
yeah.
Wow.
I've never seen
Mhm.
that before in my military.
The Dependopotamists back in 1933.
They've been out for 100 years.
Yep, that's right.
Even longer. Yeah.
Probably longer, but at least somebody at that point in time wrote something about it. 1935, the Alimony Reform League again reformed in New York. Boy, man, they're pissed off in New York. Now we have World War II and some relative reforming of the West for whatever reasons, and we skip ahead quite a bit to 1960. California attorney by the name of Reuben Kidd started the Divorce Racket Busters. It was incorporated in 1961 as USA Divorce Reform Incorporated. And this initiative continued to operate into the late 60s for the purposes of trying to reform divorce law. 1970, Esther Vilar publishes Der Disterte. Yeah, Der Disterte Man, the manipulated man in German.
Oh,
Right.
great book. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
and
book.
then it was subsequently printed in English in 72.
That's how Rob and I met.
Yeah, okay.
Via that book. Yeah, via that book.
1971, the Coalition of American Divorce Reform Elements was founded by an activist by the name of Richard Doyle. I think he's still active. 1973, the Lone Fathers Association was established in Australia by Barry Williams. That organization is still going. The Men's Rights Association in 73 was again also formed, and that was by Richard Doyle. That I believe that's still going. Herb Goldberg in 75 publishes The Hazards of Being Male, Surviving the Myth of Masculine Privilege. 1976, our buddy Richard Doyle publishes the very unpopular The Rape of the Male.
Yikes.
I
Yeah.
can tell by the title why that would be popular.
Yeah, fun read.
Man, let me tell you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Red meat. There we are.
Yeah, in 1976, guys. It's not like I'm, 1977, Warren Farrell has a public schism with the National Organization for Women, begins writing multiple articles regarding his own experience with the divorce industry, openly ends his association with the National Association with a letter to then President Gloria Steinem. Okay. 1977, Men's Rights Incorporated, MR Inc., is founded by Frederick Hayward and David Alt. David Alt also started Men's Rights ERA, a project of MR Inc., which lobbied for ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment, which has never been ratified, by the way, and promoted the benefit of the ERA for increasing men's rights, demanding that women also be included in the draft. This being right after the end of the Vietnam War, this was incredibly unpopular.
Mhm.
MR Inc. operated until the year 2010, where Mr. Hayward became too ill to continue with the organization, and there was little interest in the Men's Rights ERA or the Equal Rights Amendment. All right. 1977. Free Men Incorporated was founded in Maryland, spawning several chapters over the years, which eventually merged to form the National Coalition of Free Men, now known as the Coalition for Men. 77, Richard Doyle, still not gaining traction, founded a Men's Equality Now International, called MEN International, and edited its newsletter, The Liberator, until 2004.
Did he finally play the algorithm by naming it?
Well, it's 2004. It's too early to play the algorithm. I would have liked to have had this guy during the era of Twitter, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, 1979, Coalition Organized for Parental Equality formed. 1980s. I don't know if any of you have heard of this. This could also probably be its own show at some point. The mythopoetic men's movement. You know, all of this get back to nature. You know, caveman.
Yeah.
Return, you know?
Return.
Yes,
That was
return,
very-
yes, really
Return.
return.
The
Yes,
paleo diet and things like that.
Yeah.
What's it? The Way of the Superior Man probably
Mhm.
came from there, as well. David Dida and shit like that.
yeah. This is definitely the walking on coals shit. From the 80s. It refers to a loose collection of organizations active in men's work since the early 80s, but a lot of them have a religious and rite of passage component to them. 1985, the Texas Fathers for Equal Rights was formed. 1992, Professor Tom Oster, director of the Missouri Center for Men's Studies at the University of Missouri in Kansas City, established the first international men's conference, which ended up being called International Men's Day. It's celebrated on February 7th every year, and the first was February 7th, 1992. Yay. All right.
We did it, boys. We did it.
it.
We won.
Hey,
Got a
yeah.
We had
day.
a day.
We did.
One
We
day.
All right, so here we go. This is kind of like the end of the first, quote unquote wave. Warren Farrell finally decides to publish a book about his experiences in the 70s in 1993, and it's called The Myth of Male Power: Why Men Are the Disposable Sex, which reiterates many of the men's issues published way back, probably 100 years before, by that Ernest Belfort Bax guy. After the publication of Farrell's book and coinciding with the emergence of the internet, men's rights initiatives started to proliferate, but not in print, and they kind of went online at that point. So that's why I'm kind of splitting it up into two waves. Okay. So now we're into the second wave, the technological wave of the MRAs. All right. Essentially, you have the formation of a lot of loosely coalesced groups online. They're nationally and internationally networked as opposed to poorly networked during the first wave in print. The message has gotten worse because it's inclusive of everybody. Women, men, straight, gay, trans, white, black are all actively involved. And the reason why I'm saying that is because that inclusivity message is on Paul Elam's own Men's Human Rights Issues and Goals of the Voice for Men page. So I'm not just making this shit up, and I'm not saying that they've weakened themselves through association. No, they've done this intentionally. Okay. Also from Voice for Men's page is a strict anti-violence policy written by a former wife beater.
Sounds like the manosphere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
Anti-domination of MRM by traditionalist assumptions. What?
Who?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, how do I interpret that?
Well, what they're saying is that their stated goals now is that anti-domination of the men's right movement by traditionalist assumptions, meaning that the nuclear family, any of those, return principles that you might have looked to before to say that, this is the natural order of things and things were better then, are not necessarily rejected, but are policed. They're tone policed by the MRM, at least a Voice for Men, according to their own standards. And I don't believe that. Anti-domination by partisan politics. Everyone who is in the men's rights movement, from what I've seen, the majority who call themselves MRAs are conservative. I've never met an MRA who is a Democrat. So to say that it's not dominated by partisan politics is, again, the proof's not in the pudding. Okay. Inclusive of people of all faiths while having zero tolerance for proselytizing. My ass. a lot of these MRAs are speaking straight out of the Bible and have a pro-Christian, anti-atheist message, which is again against what they're saying they're for. Are generally anti-feminist, anti-gynocentrism, and anti-misandry, with the addition of being more broadly oriented to human rights principles. What the hell does that even mean? Okay.
We're nice, you know?
Yes.
We're the nice guys.
We are against this. We are against this. We are against this. But generally we're for human rights. Okay. Well, great. Go with that. Are committed to building bridges between the men's human rights movement and the general community. No one likes these people. They are the most abrasive, awful people that you ever want to speak to. They're not building bridges with anyone. Have elaborated a more thorough socio-political history of misandry and gynocentrism. I don't think that awareness really matters. And then finally, they have developed a more sophisticated discourse about sexual, psychological, and political issues to inform the basis of the men's rights movement. Again, that's Deering, essentially, to the world, and hoping that people will listen to you. Okay, so the first wave, at least this is what MRAs claim, focused its activism on changing the laws. And the second wave is more focusing its activism on changing cultural narratives. So we've given up on trying to change the law. We're just going to try to convince hearts and minds at this point. So in contrast to lobbying legislators and requesting reforms to misandric laws, the second wave has seen advocacy shift toward changing the cultural dialogue on social and mainstream media. So in other words, it's, again, we just want you to understand us. So let's dig into some of the recent initiatives after The Myth of Male Power was written in 93. 1998, Usenets, Soc.men, Sociology.men, Yahoo forums, MSN groups, and others proliferated around that time, all devoted to discussions of men's rights issues. These groups built support directories and constituted the beginnings of the online men's rights culture. Okay.
Is So Suave and the pickup things, are those
I'll discuss that at the very end, Jack, and we can talk about what MRAs have said about themselves to differentiate them from us, and how I will embrace the meme. Your terms are acceptable, and I think you'll agree with me. Okay?
On the defense rests, then. Carry on.
Yes. The plaintiff rests, the defense rests as well. Yeah. Okay. So in 2000, a UK website, I don't know if you guys have heard of it. I remember being on this site every once in a while. It was called angryharry.com. Deals with men's rights issues in Great Britain. Dads on the Air is a Australian radio program discussing men's and fathers issues, began in 2000. Also in 2000 was mensactivism.org. It's a men's rights news and information hub where everybody just kind of dumps their shit. 2001,
basically.
Yeah. 2001, Fathers for Justice was established in 2001. It was reformed after it was closed in 2008, and it's founded by a guy named Matt O'Connor. Men's Hour, a UK radio program discussing men's issues by Raymond Cuddle. 2002, glensacks.com is a US website discussing men's issues by a guy named, surprisingly enough, Glenn Sachs. Mensnewsdaily.com is a US men's news aggregator and outlet done by a guy named Mike LaSalle. The Men Are Good Project, 2006, U.S. Men's Issues website, also on YouTube by Tom Golden, who is a Lutheran minister. He's a LCSW.
Oh dear.
Yeah, an author and psychotherapist who underlines the unique ways men act and process emotion. Wow, that sounds fucking.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I feel my balls shrinking as I speak.
Nice.
Also in 2006, antimisandry.com was formed to denote global men's issues in a discussion forum. 2007, the Save the Indian Family Foundation.
Oh my God.
Hey, little brown guys have been in from the beginning. Don't discount the Indian subcontinent on being really, really, really gay. Okay. 2008.
The Bobs and the Vagines.
Yes,
Yep.
Bob's Vagines and Blondes, exactly. 2008. The Reddit men's rights subreddit was started at the time.
Now things are starting to sound familiar.
Okay.
Now it's coming in. Yep.
Now it's
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
in. 2009, A Voice for Men, website created
Oh,
by
yeah.
Sad Santa himself, Paul Elam.
Mhm.
Paul Elam created that site, huh? Yeah.
Yep, he claims to be.
Yep.
He claims it is the largest and most influential men's human rights website to date.
Influential, huh?
Yeah. Hey, look, man. I just
I
reporting.
just work
news.
here.
Yes.
But who is more powerful, Sad Santa or fuckboy with a Twitter account?
That would be Trad Ho 4569 who marries a rich simp. After 10 years, that's all you
Which
have to
one?
get mad.
Yeah, links in bio is more influential than
Yep.
Paul Elam at
Yeah.
this point, but that's
Yeah.
neither here nor there. Okay, 2010, Man Woman Myth, high profile video channel, creates multiple documentaries on men's and boys' issues, including feminism, gender relations, and society. Here come the ladies, guys. 2011, Karen Strawn, Girl Writes
Ugh.
What? Popular
Aaron
blog.
Strawn. Yep. Now,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a name I hadn't heard in a long time.
I'm sorry to bring it up, Gov. I wanting
Good
to
old honey badgers, and yeah. this
Oh,
is where
hold
it all
on,
starts
hold
sounding
on.
familiar.
Hey, you're getting ahead of yourself here. Let me continue. Studio Brule, 2012, the YouTube channel by Stephen Brule, documentary of men's rights events and issues globally. He is the circumcision guy.
What?
2013, Gynocentrism and Its Cultural Organs, a website investigating the historical roots of feminism by a guy named Peter Wright. Peter Wright is also a writer who's worked a lot with Paul Elam, if I remember correctly. And he's got some books out there that are co-authored by them, but I think Wright does the majority of the writing, and I don't believe that's his real name. But anyway, 2013, The Voice for Europe, YouTube channel discussing men's human rights issues in European countries. It's produced by Lucien Valzon, James Huff, John Gunnarsson, and Hoofnagel Pista. I love that first name, Hoofnagel. And then here we go, Gov. You were waiting. 2013, Honey Badger Brigade Radio, founded by Allison Tiemann, Hannah Wallen, Karen Strawn, and other collective of artists discussing men's issues and social problems. 2013, Boys and Men in Education, created by Jonathan Taylor, formerly of A Voice of Male Students, who changed the name of it because it just sounded too Paul Elam. Raising awareness of discrimination against men and boys in educational settings. Okay, 2013. Justice for Men and Boys, UK, political party founded by Mike Buchanan, dedicated to improving men's and boys' welfare at the political level.
He didn't win.
2013, Janice Fiamengo, Canadian professor commenting on the damaging feminist and SJW influences on campus and the impact on men and academic culture more generally. 2014, The Illustrated Empathy Gap, a UK website providing comprehensive documentation of male disadvantage in multiple social domains by a gentleman by the name of William Collins. 2014, honest.ribbon.org website providing accurate information about domestic violence against men and women by domestic violence shelter pioneers and men's activist Aaron Pizzi. 2015, An Ear for Men YouTube channel for Paul Elam. Okay, so that's the major developments so far. The only pre-1993 organizations still active are the Lone Fathers Association in Australia and the National Coalition for Men. Those were both formed in the 70s. The only events that are still celebrated for men, specifically after all this time, 1993, you had the International Men's Day. There's a National Men's Rights Congress that used to take place. It only took place for 3 years. 2004, 2005, and 2007. They gave up on it. 2014, there was the annual International Conference on Men's Issues, established by A Voice for Men in 2014. Then there was one in London in 2016, Australia in 2017, London again in 2018, but no history since then. Movies and documentaries. Here we go. The Red Pill documentary.
Yep, here we go with her.
2016, created by U.S.
Cassie
J. Exactly. Yep. And then The Martyrs of Marriage, also out in 2016, a little less known. Indian documentary about the misuse of dowry laws in India and the impact of men on their families, created by Deepika Bardwaj. And then 2017, American Circumcision, documentary exposing the men's human rights issues of circumcision and genital mutilation of boys, created by Brendan Murata. So that is for the most part, history of the men's rights movement of the first two phases. You still have the online influence, you still have some of the radio shows, but as far as, social influence and things that have really been done, there's really not that much out there. And that's
and now we get to the point, what has been achieved?
Well, that's the point. There are no achievements listed in here. One of the things that has kind of been achieved is just by way of common sense that anybody who pays for child support also has a right to visitation. That has been something that in many states now are trying to propose what's called presumed 50-50 custody. Both joint custody for the law and joint custody, in fact, meaning that, you get your kid half the time if you're a man and you're paying your child support, which is fair. But other than that, let me read something here real quick. Something I'll try and parse it as much as I can. Voice for Men revamped its mission statement way back in 2014 in order to be, more approachable. And they had those basic guidelines stating basically that, there's a changing cultural narrative. There are things going on in the world that, are kind of out of our control. So we want to discuss our current values. So here's some of the values supposedly of A Voice for Men, which is, the leading organization, in their own words, for the men's rights movement. A Voice for Men regards gender ideologues and all other agents of misandry as a social malignancy. We do not consider them well-intentioned or honest agents for their purported goals, and extend to them no more courtesy or consideration than we would Klansmen, skinheads, neo-Nazis, or other purveyors of hate.
Nice.
We will educate them where they are willing to learn, but hold them accountable for their ignorance as much as their actions.
Accountability.
Yeah, missed me with that. We take no side at all in partisan political struggles.
Yeah, right.
We support and endorse only nonviolent reactions to feminist governance and are in fact trying to prevent future acts of violence. We oppose gynocentrism in all forms. We oppose all state authority over or interference in the private lives of consenting adults engaged in any form of interpersonal relationship. In other words, we can be gay. We take no stand on religion or lack of religion. We neither endorse nor oppose religious principles. That's so bullshit. We encourage a greater and better range of choices for men, backed by cultural blessing and essential to a healthy, functioning society. Why aren't the above position statements more absolute in support of one side or the other of popular issues? This is Voice for Men asking a question that they know they'll get. Has Voice for Men gone soft on mission? No, not really soft, but smart and respectful of individual male self-determination. Like the endless stupidity that arises from arguing which is the one true God, trying to nail down the one true men's human rights activist stance on every issue is equally ludicrous. Rather, the men's human rights movement becomes partially an act of stating what it is not, neither this nor that, to every partisan position people attempt to reduce it to. Then comes the important question of what the men's human rights movement is. I don't know what it is if you don't actively try and prevent some things. Clearly, the movement involves cultural and self-advocacy for males in the face of a misandric world. Okay, well, never mind. To what end? To what end? Yes. And the wider arm of the men's human rights movement, MGTOW, too, is based on men having a choice to believe whatever they damn well want to believe. So Paul Elam, in his own diatribe here, in his own mission statement, says that MGTOW is aligned with the men's rights movement. I don't think they would agree with him on that. So again, what the hell's going on here? So Voices for Choices, millions of them, is what the men's human rights movement stands for. I don't get that from that, but that's okay. All right, so we're getting back to what Jack and I were discussing before real briefly. First, there was a time in the MRM, or the men's human rights movement, or whatever they want to call themselves now, there was a sexual relations contract that kind of came up in the early 2010s. People thought that you could write something up amongst yourselves and have it be legally binding as to, what you would agree to as far as consent was concerned. And
Oh my God.
and
Back
yeah,
then.
they called it the sexual relations contract. And this group wrote essentially a humongous diatribe, about 30 pages, on sexual feudalism, why during the Middle Ages and the Dark Ages sex was done contractually. They cite all their sources, and I'm like, who gives a shit? Whatever happened to chivalry?
Oh boy.
Again, they talk about that husband Sam went from being supported by the husband to the government, and that kills the relationship side of the dependency on a husband or a father. I don't necessarily disagree with that. And then there's traditionalism versus traditionalism. There's a critique on whether or not we're talking about keeping tradition going, or if we're progressing. That's more philosophical. And in the end here, I think I've got a quote here that I think sums it up best. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. Let's see if I can find it here.
So far, it's been it's been a lot of awareness and a lot of effort and
Yes.
a lot of movements, and it's all for naught.
Well, it was for the sake of
But
bitching,
nothing-
complaining.
Yeah, but for nothing. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so here's an article by a stronger men's rights activist. This is way back in 2015, and this was endorsed by A Voice for Men and a lot of the organizations at the time back in 2015 by a guy by the name of Robert Brockway. And he's trying to describe what the men's right movement is by way of an introduction to basic concepts. And he addresses us essentially in here. And this is what he has to say about, our tenuous relationship at the time. The MRM is often associated incorrectly with other movements. Sometimes this would be a genuine mistake, but sometimes this is done in an attempt to discredit the MRM. I would say it's done to discredit the red pill, but whatever. Many people have agreed on
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yes. Many people have agreed on the problems facing men and boys, but have disagreed on the way to respond to these problems. Again, we are not an ideology, we're praxeology. We give tools, not solutions. So again, this is again a difference in approach by groups. Various movements with names like the Red Pill and pickup artists have appeared. The name of the former movement occurs because when a person recognizes the problems facing men and boys, regardless of their subsequent response to that, they are sometimes said to have taken the red pill and faced uncertainty and new truths. The name of the latter movement should be obvious and generally revolves around young men manipulating the situation to their own benefit rather than attempting to fix the underlying problems. Participants in these movements do not generally call themselves men's rights activists as they understand what the MRM is, and they do not agree with our attempts to address the problems facing men and boys. There it is in black and white. We are not men's rights activists, according to their own words. We deny it. They agree with it. So why now is Sad Santa Elam trying to say that he's an OG in the red pill movement? Fuck you,
Convenience.
Paul. Fuck you, Paul. You don't even read your own shit.
Yeah.
Go away. Stick to your lane, bud. We got this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why, but it's always so
My goodness.
extra savage when Chesty puts somebody in their place. It's kind of like you got to respect that, It's like,
So participants in these movements do not generally call themselves men's rights activists as they understand what the MRM is, and they do not agree with our attempts to address the problems facing men and boys. They can even be quite hostile to the MRM. It is interesting that many of the worst allegations made against the MRM are actually a result of things attributed to the MRM that are said by people who do not identify with the MRM. This is true. And we feel the same way about the men's rights activists saying shit about the red pill. We don't know what the fuck you're talking about. One movement, Men Going Their Own Way, involves men who disengage to varying degrees with a society that is hostile to them. In general, MGTOW avoid marriage and conventional relationships with women due to the significant financial and legal risk this entails for men today. MGTOWs often work only as much as they need to survive, thus legally reducing the tax they pay and reducing the support they provide to a system that is hostile to them. MGTOW is the only other movement that has a significant overlap with the MRM. So the men's rights activists identify with MGTOW.
That's
Not the
funny
red-
because I remember MGTOW wanting nothing to do with the men's rights movements. The guys I knew, they did not. Yeah, they were like, keep these guys away from us, basically, because they said they kind of saw what we saw and what we're talking about right now. That's why I find interesting.
Right. So While it may be true that men's rights advocacy was perhaps initially more popular among the socially or politically conservative, this has long since ceased to be the case. The MRM has participants from across the political spectrum and is in itself an apolitical movement. MRAs are not traditionalists. We are not advocating for a return to the gender roles seen in the past. We want everyone to have a fair playing field on which they live their lives free from traditional gendered obligations. Holy gay.
Yeah,
Gay. Gay.
that's what turned me off of that. Yeah, from that.
Your Honor, I present you faggotry.
Yeah. So there is a brief, I guess not so brief. It took me an hour to go through the history of just one segment of what we would call, men's groups or male inclusive groups. And that's the men's rights movement. And you see now why, older guys like me and Ryan and Rollo are hostile to the MRA position because they initially were disavowal of what we had to present and thought that we were simply manipulative and were not willing to help or change the underlying society itself for the benefit of men. And to that I say, you play the ball where it lies, to use a golf analogy. If it's in the sand, you hit it out of the sand. If it's in the fairway, you hit it out of the fairway. If it goes in the water, pick the ball up out of the water and take your penalty. That's the way you should play male-female relations, not everything has to be on a perfect lie all the time. And if it's not, you need to move it into the middle of the fairway. You don't incur any type of penalty. And the men and the women have to be at the same spot when they hit. And, if the men's ball goes a little bit farther or the women's goes a little shorter, you got to equal them out to each other and hit from the same spot. This is the issue that we have, is that we are adaptive people. They are reactive people. And they have been trying to raise awareness for well over 100 years, closer to 150 years. And they've gotten nowhere because they are unattractive in their approach and unattractive in their solutions. So why go that route? We are individual men who can be attractive and persuasive on our own with a set of tools, and we can come back together at times to talk to each other about what works and what doesn't. And that's what makes the red pill effective and MRAs ineffective. And if they don't like it, they can either change to be more like us, or they can give up, or they can jump into a volcano. I don't give a fuck. But I'm certainly not going to treat these guys with kit gloves. I'm not going to treat them like special ed students. They have
or bus riders.
Exactly. Window lickers. Yes, exactly. We don't have any obligation to these men or any other men to save them. And if they don't want to listen to what works, see what works, experience what works, I don't have any sympathy or empathy for them whatsoever, because they've practiced what doesn't work, which is bitching and arguing like women to other men for over 150 years, and it hasn't worked at all.
Well, I mean, they can get bent.
Yeah, I mean, I've done everything I
can. I really like that adaptive.
Yep.
Yes.
Misery loves company for a reason.
Good to see you, by the way, Habibi.
Hey, how's everyone doing?
Doing well.
I didn't want to cut off chest. But
None of us did.
Well,
but I do agree, like with men being, basically bitches. Even in the line of work that I do, it's supposed to be a high testosterone environment. You still get men acting out like bitches and complaining and not taking action. Even if you present them with the solution and throwing them the rope to save themselves, they wouldn't do that. Even if it affects their career, their life and everything, they just would rather sit and complain and bitch like women.
There's
women, they have a pair of tits to go with the complaining that would make you just, put up with it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want to fuck any of these men. You understand but you understand my
Yeah.
point. I'm being incredibly
Yeah.
blunt about it. It's that
Yeah.
there is no incentive for me to be empathetic for a guy who is his own worst enemy.
Mhm.
If I'm being told nonsense by some girl and I just pat her on the head and she's out there throwing herself to anybody who's kind to her, and I manipulate that to a situation of some type of interaction in the bedroom, then that doesn't make me a bad person. That makes me a smart person. And and like I said, I don't want to engage physically with any of these dudes, whether it's sex, wrestling, handshakes, breathing the same air, none of that shit. So why would I want to in the position that I'm in, write legislation for laws that would quote unquote level the playing field in family court?
Mhm.
Fuck that. You couldn't pay me enough to be in a room with any of these people for more than 5 minutes. And that includes all the women who support them too. I've argued online with the honey badger cunts forever, and they are as insufferable as the men are, but they try to leverage the fact that they're just a little girl and I'm trying to help my sons, beyond what they normally would. And in many cases, they go too far.
Yeah. It's sad that most of the first stop for a lot of men is this stuff, the whole feeling sorry for yourself. And they stay there for long periods of time, right? But you're leaving the most important thing about being a man. The coolest thing about being a man is like taking action, because that's my favorite thing about being a man is that when I have 2 hands and 2 legs, and if I want to do something and it's reasonable, I can go do it.
Yeah, you don't even need a woman anymore, Nuke. You got 2 feet and 2 hands.
You don't
That's
need
impressive. You're using feet. That's very impressive.
fuck.
But like,
You don't need men. You don't need men to tell you that you're.
The men usually don't come to mind when.
Yeah, exactly. We don't need anybody to tell you that. Hey, you're such a
And-
good man. You
yeah.
you did the
And
thing.
And the thing is, I've seen a lot of injustice. Like if you gone through the military, you've seen lots of injustice, right? Like it's almost comical, where you see your friends like half your division gets divorced and their houses are completely empty, or you see the guy who sleeps next to you in Iraq get me too'd by the girl that you were just standing watch with in the plant. You're just like, what the hell? Like I'm like one person removed from getting me too'd, that stuff. So I've seen it all, but at the end of the day, the smartest thing I did was just keep a low profile, stay away from certain situations that would get me in trouble. And like, what's better, to be the victim or to be the guy that kind of navigates bad situations and uses his brain, and a little bit of sexual discipline and discipline in general, right? And that's the cool thing about being a guy is that we can do that. Women cannot take action. They need someone to take action for them in every instance. So don't be like women. Be like a guy. You're leaving masculinity on the table if you try to be a victim. Even though it sucks. We get it. It sucks.
It's what Chisty said. Like MRA's reactive, red pill is active, where it's like they complain that it's not fair and
That's
it's sad and it hurts and everything else. It's like, yeah, now what? To quote Nuke's favorite tweet, what's your plan? But they don't have a plan other than, make it fair. Listen, Buttercup, world ain't fair.
Should.
Hurt.
Should.
There's that word.
Should.
There's the word.
That one has killed more men. That word has killed more men than any other thing in the world. Should.
Oh, yeah.
Destroyed more lives than any other word.
Absolutely.
Your life will improve today if you remove the word should from your vocabulary and replace it with could.
Not only that, but the issue with the MRAs is that they believe that logic in and of itself is persuasive. Well, and they say things like, we've been constantly been raising awareness of these issues. We put it in print. We've got a documentary. We've got women saying the same stuff that the men do. Maybe that'll help. But if you're generic positions don't benefit the normies as a whole, provide them with a greater degree of freedom or more money in their pocket or more access to ass, there is no incentive for anybody to pick up your message and run with it. You know, the only things that people pay attention to are, you know, power, pussy, and pesos, man. You know, the 3 Ps. and if you can't convince somebody that what you're proposing to them is going to lead to one of those 3, then nobody cares. And you ever think that women are ever going to give back gains to men because we ask politely and show them how it's, you know, unfair to us in some way? No.
Man versus bear. You know,
well,
like,
yeah, well, right. I mean,
here are the stats where a bear could kill you, and girls are like,
I don't
no. And we're just like, no, please, logic. You can't logic your way to pussy, my friend.
You can't fight a bear.
and you also can't logic your way to social fairness. And that's where they've gotten it wrong for ever and ever and ever. It's like, look,
over 100 years.
Well, over, yeah, I mean, over 100 and 170.
Wait, question for David. So do you see this in the video game community where guys are kind of like forming groups against like, you know, maybe women and all that stuff? I don't know if he's still there. Are you there, David?
Yeah, I'm here.
Like, do you see this kind of like repeating itself in the video game community?
I mean, well, as far as like a rights group, no, I don't.
Like guys getting together to like fight against, you know,
inequality,
wokeness in video games and all that stuff.
I mean, like I've seen people try, like, but it's usually more centered around like personalities and stuff. It seems like more like communities kind of crop up around like a YouTuber or something like that. Not really like a sort of group. Like, you know, geeks and gamers, that kind of crap.
No, so
man. So, like, I do like the guys. They did incredible work and shit like that. But, like, I tried watching Friday Night Tights again, and now all they do is have politicians on. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, it's the election year.
They'll have a bunch of women on, too, as well. So
I was about to say that, yeah.
Female politicians and blah, blah, blah. I mean, Chrissy Mayer is pretty funny. I'll say that. But, by God, like, I get it.
I like her, yeah.
Politics is downstream from culture, but it's like I watched you guys for the fucking culture. You know, it's like not because of political opinions. And a lot of what Chesty said made me think about the TradCons. A lot of it, where it's like they keep telling men where it's like, oh, well, not exactly. They blame men for the inequality. The TradCons mostly blame men for their own inequality in all of this. And again, that word should. You should just be better. Like, you're paying alimony because you're not good enough.
Yeah, and then my question always arises to them is that okay, so what should I do to make sure that the women in my life don't behave out of pocket? Should I punch my wife in the fucking face?
Hey, Diddy did it.
What should you know? But I'm serious. I mean, what should I do, Abraham? You know, what should I do? Old head of the, you know, Christianity and speaker of the Old Testament truths. I mean, that's the problem, is that you're not the state. You can't make a woman do anything that she doesn't want to do. She has to want to be with you and want to comply with any of the demands that you might have.
Tell that to the religious guys who are like, no fault divorce is bad. I'm like, do you want to live with someone that hates you, bro?
But that's not even the thing. The thing is that they don't understand the fact that they are a secondary authority in their home, regardless of what any book says. And they are living a delusion where they think that, you know, well, I have a Corinthians marriage. No, you don't. No one has a Corinthians marriage. You want to know why? Because all your wife needs to do is dial 911 and say, he's hitting me. He's hitting me.
You're a lawyer. You know, you've seen it.
Bang her head against a wall a couple of times, you know, take the end of a baseball bat and put it into the wall to make it look like there's an indent there from a fist. and all of a sudden the police
Can
come
confirm.
in.
I've seen this.
And the police come in and she's locked up in the bathroom. Ma'am, can you come out and talk to us? And the guy is sitting there like, I didn't do anything. Then why does she have marks on her face and her arms? And why is there that hole in that wall? What happened here?
She did it to herself. Yeah, right.
He came at me. I don't know if everything was done because of that, but all I remember is he came at me. I ran into the bathroom and I called 911. And can you just get him out of here for the night? Okay.
Yeah, for the night. It's like you want us to get your abuser out for just the night. Like,
well, but that's the only rational thing that can take place is that he be taken in and he reviewed, and they look at him and say, "Oh, there's no marks on you. How the hell did this happen? We don't have any proof that you committed any type of crime, so we're going to send you home." But in the meantime, she's got 36 to 48 hours to clear out all of your shit, clear out the bank accounts, clear out the kids, take them over to grandma and grandpa's house, because she used the system. She used the biggest dick in the room, the government, to back her story, even if temporarily. So where does your Corinthians marriage go then? What are you going to do when the police come in? Are you going to try and kill the police to enforce your Corinthians marriage?
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that.
Quote the Bible.
You know, it's kind of like the old Doritos commercials. Crunch all you want, we'll make more. It's the same with cops. Okay, you know, you can shoot as many as you like. There's going to be just a bunch of them more that come in right behind them until you run out of bullets and time, and then you're going to jail forever because you had a Corinthians marriage. You know, it's just dumb. It's dumb. It's a deluded fantasy to believe that you can create an environment inside of your house that is insulated from the government that co-sponsors and enforces your vows. It is stupid.
you guys okay if I go to the super chats?
Yeah,
Sure.
But I do have one thing I can add, going back to the people who complain and MRAs and the TradCons and everything.
Go ahead.
I don't know, Chesty probably he might have seen this as well. It's people who rely on other people or other powers to save them. So you guys know what I do for a living, and people tell me the shit I shouldn't be knowing about. So the thing I noticed that all of the men who keep complaining and using the word should, they never make it in their careers. Like literally, they will be stuck in the same place. Like I have few people that come in mind. Like one of them, he's been in the same job since 2007. Since 2007, my salary is up by like 1,000%, maybe 1,500% since 2007, maybe more. The guy's still on the same salary, same job. Still to this day, he's doing the same thing. Nothing has changed because he's always complaining and blaming other people and saying this shouldn't this happen. People who believe in religion and rely on religion on many things, they also use God and religion as a way to blame. They say should and happen and whatever. But you notice that men who take action and take responsibility, they're the ones who make it in life, regardless of religion or not. I don't know.
Well,
it's just innovation.
It's scary, right? Because a lot of guys follow a script, right? And the script is be a good boy, get a job, get a wife, listen to the wife, like the script that maybe their father gave them or their religious institution beliefs or the government or whatever alpha guru or anyone. And once they find out that the script isn't working, they freak out, right? And then they're like, how do I get compliance from women, whether it be my wife or the woman I'm dating or having sex with or whatever? And the thing is, like, dude, it's on you. And that's one of the most burning phrases to tell a man, especially when they're entering the space. Is like, dude, you're fucking alone in this. We have notes to trade, but it's on you, bro. Like it's on you. You have no one to rely on, right? Because that's what kind of made me mad about the Fresh thing, is that he has a lot of people on his phone that could have guided him through this. You know, he has like world-class lawyers. He has fucking Rollo Tomasi in your phone, right? People like that. I didn't have anyone when I was in the military when I was 23, because my father, it's a different time. So he doesn't understand that, like, if you talk to a girl a certain way, you can get me too. If you get, he gave me good advice, but you know, and then it's just like the example you're setting to guys is, hey, no matter how much intelligent you are, you're gonna get got. I'm like, no, dude, if you're intelligent and disciplined, you will be fine. But you have to understand, no one's gonna do it for you. And yes, you will have counsel. You could pay anyone for counsel. You can talk to your dad, your brother, whatever. But at the end of the day, you have to push the button. You have to tell that girl no.
Mhm.
Like, there's no amount of Red Pill podcast that's gonna teach you to tell a girl to say no to a woman. You have to do that.
Not until you blatantly tell her it's not going to happen when she's crying right in front of you. Do you know what it takes? Not until that moment where she's sobbing her eyes out and you have to like put your foot down where it's like, we're not doing this.
Yeah, and then her family, her sisters, her whatever, all come after
They
you.
all come at you. I've been in that particular situation once. Her aunt, her mom, her sisters all went after me. I'm like, no.
Yeah, and they want this MRI is basically in the future. They want like a factory of women that are super turbo compliant, that say yes sir to everything without them having to put up any work, right? And the thing is, like, that defeats the best part of being a man, was competition, right? I want to beat out other men in terms of like the sexual marketplace. I want to go somewhere and I want women to look at me and be like, that guy's attractive, more attractive than my schlubby husband. I worked for that. So if we MRIs want to like level the playing field, then that takes out the spice of life of being a man, which is competition. I'm better than you, right? Imagine if we all played video games and they said, hey, there's so many good players, but we're gonna like give people, nerf some people and give experience to some people. That way we can all be on the same level playing field. I guess the most female thing I've ever heard in my life. So basically, these guys are just defective females. Get with the program. It's not that it is hard. It's just simple. It's not easy, but it's simple.
The sexual marketplace is experiencing power creep. We need to go back back to the former editions of the game.
Yeah, and
back into the hole, boys. Back into the hole. The hole between the legs. Back into the hole, boys.
But
it's not safe to come out yet.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you're gonna make content about this stuff, and you're like me and Jack are, the issue is that we need to understand these guys, where they're coming from, like this victim mentality. Like that's the reason Andrew Tate became so popular, was because no one was talking about this shit about because I do feel some kind of compassion towards the young guys that don't know better, right? Because they don't know. They're like 20 years old. Who's gonna tell them, hey, dude, you can't give girls flour, you can't take girls on dinner.
There's a huge
first date,
Yeah, there's a huge difference between ignorance and stupidity, and I think a lot of times people try to not acknowledge that. And Dante and I weren't shitting on your point. We're just trying to make light of the fact that guys a lot of times they fit into two camps. They fit into the very angry or the very ill-informed. Okay. Yeah. And if you're a combination of both, you can be very dangerous,
you can make channels, you can make crazy YouTube channels, gain millions of followers, and do a lot of damage.
Do a lot of or you can be, the writer of
Sanction.
The writer of Sanction, or you can be
do a lot of damage.
Or you could be the what was he called? The ultimate gentleman, Elliot Rodger.
Oh yeah.
There are people out there who can be negatively impacted by a half-baked, unnuanced, hard and fast black and white message. And when you give prescriptions to people who are not socially calibrated in any way or have any experience with the opposite sex, they can become violent, literally. So that's part of the issue here too, is that how long do you want to make people aware, and where does the help begin, and from what source? And I understand that sometimes the best way to do that is to try and push somebody in a direction. But do you want to be the source of blame for someone else's failure? That is again another issue with it, is that blame the teacher for my implementation.
Yeah, Rollo Tomasi's working overtime. Let's just say that he's working overtime right now to clean up a lot of messes right now.
Yeah, and the fact that you need to be the fact that you need to be both a thought leader and a janitor in the same the same halls of learning is dog shit. You shouldn't have to have that responsibility. That's true.
Yeah.
But what I'm also seeing too is that you can't play an outrage game with a strategy that doesn't require outrage.
You cannot wrestle with pigs without getting dirty.
That's right. Yep. So that's another issue too, is that the medium that we have in order to create a greater outreach of message is it rewards shitty behavior.
Well, that's something. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
What? A while back, I can't remember when this exactly was, but there was a Rule Zero, and Rollo asked himself, he asked us, like, should we? I'm paraphrasing here. It's like, would it be a possibility to indeed articulate the message differently? And I told him, well, I'm sorry to use your own words against you, but TRP was not meant to have like a billboard. Like, the information was out there, and if you want it, you can find it. We were never meant to advertise. So why even think about changing the message? And he's like, yeah, no, you're kind of right. I'm like, oh,
do we have a choice?
Your words.
Do we have a choice?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, we have a choice. We can.
Why the fuck do I care what tradcons think? That is what this whole thing is about. It's like tradcons are telling us, "Oh, red pill is wrong." Okay, cool.
Well, in terms of advertising,
no, but still,
we can't be like Jehovah's Witnesses and knock on doors and be like, "Hey,
no,
you guys
exactly."
We have to use the same. Yeah, but we have to use the same mediums that the tradcons are using as well, right? The problem
do we really?
Yes, because where are the Zoomers? Where are the Zoomers spending most of their time online?
Yeah, but fuck the Zoomers.
They're not typing in Return of Kings or Rouge v Forum or whatever.
No, but they don't have to. They don't have to. Where even Chesty can attest to this. How did most of this started? Some guy typed into Google, "Why won't my wife fuck me?" Guys will come to it eventually.
Yeah, you don't have to advertise to it. Like, honestly, look what advertising of the Red Pill.
Look what it got.
Got it right.
My question is,
you have Andrew Tate, you have fucking Pearl, you have the two retards from Nigeria or like whatever third world country, and you have all these fucking retards,
two blacks, one
motherfucking dumb shits.
God.
Trying to be a fucking pickup coaches and having courses left and right, and is it worth it?
Let me ask you, Jack. Jack, if you found out that most of your followers' first stop was one of these guys that Mish just mentioned, how would that make you feel? That you were the second or third or the last stop. That first stop was loud, throwing girls off podcasts, kind of watering down Rolloisms and all that stuff, screaming at women, whatever. But then they said, "Hey, Jack, you were my second stop, and I kind of had a better understanding now." How would that make you feel?
I would be flattered.
Right. So is the advertising all that bad? Like
no, because what I mean by that is
the way the algorithm works is if someone searches any of these podcasts, they're going to eventually stumble on Rule Zero, right?
Exactly.
And the guys that are throwing hundreds of dollars at these content creators, do you think they're gonna make it? I don't think so. I think they're gonna stay stuck there forever, or they're gonna have to like lower their standards for women to maybe a woman that will comply, get that compliance that they so deserve, right? For just being an average dude or dude just with no game or whatever they, because they're screaming into the universe of how women should be. Got it. But maybe out of those 100 guys that subscribe today or tomorrow or this week, 5 of them will stumble upon some Dominican guy saying, "This is how you get laid during pool season," and I'm okay with that, right? And it's not moral, it's stupid. And at the end of the day, I don't remember really how I found the red pill. I remember that I read 48 Laws of Power, and then I think it was like the PUA stuff, right? And remember how silly the PUA show on VH1 was? It was like almost entertainment. It was like I saw guys crying because they couldn't approach a girl. They're like, "I don't know what to do."
I remember going from 48 Laws of Power to RSD.
Yeah.
RSD, like seriously, Owen Cook, he kind of like he put a damn.
But my
answer
point
Luke-
is, but my point is to wrap up is that maybe these shows are the VH1 PUA show that everyone kind of scoffed at, but then some of us guys were like, wait, I see this at Dynamic and there's something to this. And then they type in Mystery or they type in Matador or whatever these PUA guys. And then they see that one of them wrote or someone wrote about them on Return of Kings or Rouge V Forum or, So Suave. You're like, wait a minute. And that's where that rabbit hole didn't start with the VH1 show or the Red Meat podcast. It started with a guy typing it. It forced him because he's like, it got his curiosity. That's what I'm saying,
Yeah, but because I'm a bigger fan of when the student is ready kind of thing. Because those guys are better to work with anyway. It's kind of what Ryan says as well. Like you make the content and the audience will come.
I think I'll talk about the Discord that I started a while back 2 years ago. And that's where this comes in because
it's just a history on certain people and guys and stuff like that and how it relates to today. That's all it is.
Why can't I mute you, Gov?
So I started a Discord 2 years ago. The idea was to consult, like, basically, okay, this is everything sucked. TRP subreddit sucked. MRP devolved into what it is now. Let's try to do the final way of doing it and make it, we'll make it the right way it should be. And the experiment lasted for 2 years and it didn't work. And the reason why is that nobody did anything. So even if you had that pipeline where you had the Rolo Tomasis of the world and the Ryan Stones and the Jack Napiers and then the Rob Saises, and they hit my Discord up, like you said, New,
pay me, bitch.
They need to push the button. They need to push the button. And the sort of guys that find themselves here, the real problem isn't that they need to get laid specifically. Maybe it is. But the real reason is they're looking for a guru, that's one. And second, they want to be validated for their identity. And the sort of guys that are looking for that stuff, the sort of guys that start the MRM organizations that Chesty talked about, those guys are not going to do shit because that's not where the validation comes from. They want to get their validation from guys stroking off other guys. And so that's how you end up in this soup of, people who are not going to do anything. And you just have to pick the guys that are worth a damn.
Do you see what
instance? Yeah.
Do you see my name? What it says there?
Yeah, I do.
Research for the gays. Yeah.
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 I'm not being facetious about that. I mean, it's basically there's a problem in the space, and there's always been a problem in the space where people are gay for their guru. They are more interested in getting affirmation for the people that they've learned from, that they've done their studying and they've learned the lingo and they can parrot back the talking points. I think there's guys out there who get hard if Rolo likes one of their posts. I really do. And the whole point being is that it's an intellectual circle jerk at a point where nobody goes out and tests anything. And if that's going to be the case, then you might as well just make up all of your stories, and everybody's notes that are traded are just fantasy, fan fiction. And, as I approached, I grabbed her breast, which felt like a bag of sand,
Oh, yes.
40-year-old
version.
Yeah. Exactly. Just stories by people who don't fuck. And, and we can't devolve to that. And that's why there has to be pricks in the space, like me, who call everything as I see it and as I research it, because if we're all going to be this mutual admiration society where we're more interested in likes and thumbs ups from each other than we are about getting laid, I don't want to be around guys like that. I think that's weesh. If you want to do that shit, join the Elks Club. And drink at the commissary bar. If you're on base every Thursday night or whatever the fuck it is that you do, and just talk about football. But I'm not into football at this point. So fuck
Clary is a good example of all of this. Clary has been doing this for over a decade, at minimum, over a decade, maybe even as long as Rolo, and he just hit 100,000 subscribers. The man never did any real marketing. His website is still some AOL.WordPress something garbage heap of a site. But it worked for him. And he just kept on making videos that appealed to him, that appealed to his knowledge, and that appealed to the audience he wanted.
Yeah, but the thing is, I say this is what Rolo did, right? And you think about like he went on these shows, like he went on Fresh and Fit. He interfaced with Pearl. He interfaced for better or for worse, right? He interfaced with what other whatever he's doing tour, like almost like a press tour for the Red Pill Praxology, right? And a lot of people are like, hey, that's not a good idea because these people suck, right? But I think it's like a sacrificial thing. Like, yeah, I may get worn out and maybe I'll get tired of talking to retards because their fans are usually, a lot of them are like that. But as long as I get like 2% of those people to read my book and maybe, start telling their wife no, or maybe start approaching a girl like once every 2 weeks at least, it's worth it. And that's like, I think that's where he's coming from. And I think because of my military mindset, where we have to deal with some of the most like broken men sometimes, because these guys lose everything and then they get masted and they lose their paycheck and it's a beatdown. And you still see them kind of like there's still some hope in their eyes. Maybe that's why I have a little bit more compassion. But I think it's gonna go away over time. I'm gonna lose it. But I just think that
you get tired of it.
There is a sacrificial thing about doing this content creator stuff where someone asks you a completely stupid question, like an idiotic question. You have to be like, okay, so this is how this goes, and this is how this goes, right? And I don't get it, right? Like they invite like these OnlyFans models on these shows to have dialogue and to touch base, right? And I'm like, those women don't give a shit about men at all, zero, like nothing.
No, but why, right?
Well, yeah, it gets views, right? And that's what I'm saying. That's
get views.
That's it.
Right. So what type of guy will watch a show with half naked hot women, laugh and be like, those women are whores, right? What type of guy does that? Probably not a guy that wants to win, a guy that wants to
these whores.
Yeah,
this is what Dante was saying. This is what Dante was saying. Men don't want to be saved.
Right, but let me finish. The thing is here that I may have underestimated or overestimated, because when I was doing my thing, I got to Dallas, I started dating and I said, fuck it, I'm gonna have fun. I gotta do what it takes to learn about women and all that stuff. I was watching Fresh and Fit almost religiously in 2021. But I always saw it as a fun, comedic, like what's that radio show guy that used to make fun of women?
Tom Likas?
Howard Stern.
Tom Likas.
Oh. Yeah, like Howard Stern, where he like bring models on and make fun of them and all that stuff. Hey, you're too fat, even though she was like actually hot. I thought it was like that. I'm like, oh, guys are gonna take it like this. Like this is gonna be some kind of like internet joke, But then I over like 6 months I saw it. I'm just like, wait. This is becoming like, like a movement of anger.
Seriously.
Yeah, like I thought this was a joke, And then I would tune into their like self-help shows where it's just like, this is how you build credit, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's good. But then the after hour show, it was just like, wait, you guys are taking like, this is real? Like, you guys really think that, I thought this was like for fun. Like, I thought this was like a fun sideshow,
The best example I can give is Watson, the buddy of mine who was with me in the trenches. I once showed him one clip of Myron, and he looked with disdain at my screen, and he said, the only reason that guy gets to interact with women is because he has that platform, and it shows.
There's a reason my girl doesn't know about this, the Dante thing and this space thing. It's for her benefit, not for my benefit. Yeah.
But also, I would love to quote our T-Rex Army commander Couch himself on this one, because he was asked the same thing years ago about, but what about those guys and this and that, and Ryan said it perfectly.
Fuck.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said it bluntly. Fuck them. It's like I'm sharing what I know. I am sharing what can help. And if you want to apply it, you want to apply it. But I can't force you. I can tell you how to think. I can tell you what you could want and what to think. Am I phrasing that right? Almost.
How to think, not what.
That's all you can do. And then some asshole posts, "Hey, dude, I used your method and I got laid twice this week." And I'm just like, "Fuck! Now I have to care more." God damn it!
Oh, no, you don't. No, you don't. It's like, hey, I put my shit
You're
out
gonna
there,
make
and
me
it helped.
care.
Yeah. And it helped, and well, good. I'm happy for you. It helped. Now go apply your own thing, figure out what works for you even better, and go.
I think it's because I had to counsel my friend through really difficult time. Like I had thought he wrote me a suicide letter. Oh shit! I don't know if I'm supposed to say that.
Yeah,
and
That's
that and
I get
that's
it.
something that as a guy, when you
it's
when
personal.
you
Yeah. I get
yeah
it.
you kind of see your friend in a lot of these people, and you're just like, you know, maybe that they saw, you know, I don't know whatever, like maybe they saw a whatever podcast kick out and they're like, man, that's awesome. And then they scroll down and see a short about, hey, women don't care about how much money you give them. That just makes them more entitled. And maybe that'll spark something, right? Maybe I'm just still hopeful, but like, maybe
But
that's
it's not
it.
your
Maybe I'm
job.
coming from a place where it affected me so personally to have to pull a guy or
I'll-
watch a guy, like, you know, you do like 24-hour suicide watches in the military because you know you have to watch them piss and poop because they can't be alone with themselves for like any amount of time.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
And then
suicide
you're-
watch.
I
Yeah,
believe that.
Yeah, and it's just like that stuff, it kind of stays with you a little bit because you're just like, I see that in a lot of men, especially the loudest, most egotistical, like it's always the guys that think they have the perfect life and they're better than you. Those are the ones that are the most what do you call it, susceptible, because once their life crumbles, they have nothing left. You know, so yeah, it just, maybe it's an emotional thing for me. Maybe that's
No,
it.
but that's perfectly fine. The thing is then that there's some work there where strangers are not your job. Like this one guy you said is your friend. He is a close guy
Yep.
to you.
Yeah, he was my best friend. He was
But
my-
it is.
There we are. Yeah.
But other people are not your problem.
yeah.
Your friend wasn't even your problem. Like he was your friend. So yes, of course that it concerns you.
Well,
But don't let that affect you.
The military, it is your problem.
Yeah,
because
but
if
don't.
they leave, you got to work more.
Yeah,
There's
but
a
don't let it affect you to the point where other people can abuse you.
No,
Because-
yeah. It's just the emotional connection to seeing my friend and a lot of these people. And I did hand him a copy of the Rational Mail, and then he texted me 2 weeks ago saying, "Hey, thanks for everything and helping me through the tough times." You know, that's just like, fuck. I thought you, like, why did you have to mention that you watch my shit? God damn it! Don't say that. Fuck. But yeah.
I've had a few of those where it's like, ah, crap. But I mean, on the one hand, it's like I met Elliot Hulse once, and I told him, "Hey,
I
man,
thought you were gonna say Elliot Rogers. I'm like, what the
no,
fuck?
no,
Oh, dear.
no."
oh,
I
dear.
met Elliot Hulse once, and I told him, like, "Hey, man, thanks for all you do." And he looks at me, he's like, "No. Thank you for applying it."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like
Like
I
Weimar
didn't
plays
do
with like
shit,
block
he
people,
said.
right? Like Weimar
Hmm?
plays with block people if you thank them, right?
All of the
That's
mods were.
amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, because thanking somebody didn't get the point. It's like you
Yeah.
didn't get the point. You did the work. Stop thanking me. You did it yourself, faggot. that always came afterwards.
Yeah.
There's there's something that I don't know if it was I know somebody that's a therapist for the merits that it has, but the one thing he told me that was super important was that the skill you have to have with your patients is, or your clients is, you need to know how to disassociate with them so that their problem doesn't become your problem.
Hmm.
You're there to help. You're there
That's
to
very important.
you're there to discuss, you're there to consult, but you're not there to save themselves from themselves, right? Because ultimately you have a job to do, and you have a dozen other clients to talk to. So that's, I think that you have I don't know, for lack of a better word, you have to train yourself to get to that point where you look at the guys on the internet. Like even I do that right now. I look at every guy on the internet, and this guy is, I don't know who this guy is, but I'll throw some shit at him, and if he's, if he can take a joke, if he can roll with the punches, then okay, he's in my circle. If he has any questions, I can talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, there's nothing more you can do, because that guy will take himself and you down a downward spiral.
Maybe I have to learn the hard way. There's some lessons that you have to learn the hard way. Maybe
Dude, I had to learn it the hard way. Really, even recently, like my empathy got the best of me. It happens to the best of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like you need to walk, but you don't want to because you feel empathetic and you think you can fix it, even though you deep down inside very well know it's like no.
And it's crazy because with women, I'm just like, fuck off.
I have it the other way around. I can't help it.
And besides, look, we're all here. The six of us are here. Like, obviously, we had to go through a bunch of content. I had to go through a bunch of content that was useless, and then eventually I had to end up to someplace useful. So eventually, guys, if they're gonna end up, finding a place that's useful, they're gonna do it by themselves. So it's not on you to, make the effort to get to the top of the funnel. So you're the first guy that they see and save them from all these other clowns. It's not your job.
Same with lifting. I know my fitness advice is pretty fucking solid. I've been doing it for years. I have the body I like, maybe 1 kilo less, maybe. But there is so much marketing and bullshit out there. I can hold my breath. I mean, I can wait until I get a guy in my chat who says, hey, I tried, but I keep failing. It's like, sure, what do you need? I would rather have the guy who failed 1 million times because of garbage content out there than needing to play that filthy little game that's going on. And I know I'm shooting myself in the foot. I know that. And maybe I'm on my high horse here a bit, but it's like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I don't fucking care anymore. All this fucking garbage we have with Destiny and Lauren Southern and all the other bullshit is because certain people wanted to get out there.
Oh,
we could have had
a show for another day, though.
We could have had such a peaceful space if nobody, and I mean nobody, took Destiny seriously. But
someone did, and here we are. But it goes deeper, guys. There's a lot of things going behind the scenes with these trad women. Oh my God, there's a lot of.
Oh, I believe you.
Yeah, and I, there's like Elon Musk is involved. So,
dude,
we're all on the list.
We know about the TradCon side of things and the hidden like skeletons. We've heard about TradCon men doing 69 for 69.
It goes deeper than that.
Deeper than 69 over for 69.
Yeah, because like we all know that a lot of these trad guys probably are gay. It's pretty obvious. Like it's pretty obvious.
Michael Knowles used to do gay scenes in Hollywood and shit like that.
Yeah, there's something off about these guys. They're for some reason
understatement right there.
Yeah, there's something off with them. There's always there is something off. But I will say that right now, these trad women, they're going for the top, right? They're organizing, and the red pill is getting under attack, and I don't even know what that means. What does it mean to attack the red pill? Like, are they gonna go against free speech or take down my little 5-follower Patreon post? I don't know what the fuck that means.
Their fortress of Barad-dûr has been rebuilt. Orcs are forming masses.
Because just like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's, I don't know. We've always been like, have you seen the Purple Pill debate subreddit?
No, I just know that Purple Pill asshole that quoted me every day for like 60 days in a row. Yeah.
Have you seen the MRAs on Reddit? It's we've always been the the guy that people didn't like.
Yeah. We've always been the redheaded stepchild because everybody thinks that we're riding the fence, that we won't take a position. And but that's not the case. The position I take is my position.
Yeah. Fuck 'em.
Yes, Victoria, we have to be an asshole.
Yes, exactly.
They can go fuck themselves.
Great post. Yep. Yes, Victoria, I do have to be an asshole.
That's right. You guys okay if I go through the super chat? These guys have been waiting.
Of course.
Oh, sure.
Okay, time for some bands, people. Here we go, because I got a couple of bangers here. Alex Patillo for the $10. Thank you very much. In Mexico today, 2024, if your girlfriend is with you for a minimum of 5 years and you don't marry her or marry someone else, she can take you to court for not keeping a promise that you didn't make. That is an absolute shocking revelation there, Alex.
That's
Holy shit.
-1 for Latinas on my book, but I digress.
Okay, let's see. Real question by Nonstop Dre for $2. Who was the first pickup artist? Casanova.
We can have an episode on that.
Jesus
too.
Christ, he was the first pickup artist.
That guy with the club.
Messiah game.
Could you imagine Jesus walking up to you and just throwing it down? Like, was it Mary Magdalene? You think she had a chance? Like that girl had like, she was like, you know what, Jesus, you talk a lot of sense. I want to stop being a hoe for you. And Jesus like, I'm not sleeping with you, hoe.
Let me wash your feet.
Yeah. Jesus game is good game. Like that was,
If you walk on water, that's the ultimate DHV. Just saying.
Mm.
Just saying.
Turning water into wine. Mary Magdalene was kind of like, no, I'm taking it slow. And he's like,
social proof. He was rolling on with 12 of his goons, just like, hey, what's up? Yeah.
So who do you got with you? Well, I got a tax collector, 3 fishermen.
And check it out. He doesn't know it yet, but one of them's gonna fuck me over. Just watch this.
Yep.
Alex Patillo for $2. Thank you very much. Also, Sprach Zarathustra. That's Nietzsche, right? Don't know
Yeah.
what's that referencing, but
That's Nietzsche. Yeah.
it is Nietzsche.
Play, I think.
Nonstop Dre for $360, $2. Thank you very much. Who was the first Giga Chad and woman that's a 10 in history? Adam and Eve. They were probably absolute Giga Chads and Stacy's. Probably.
Samson and Delilah are also
Fair.
written down for that as well.
Yeah.
Very fair.
Who was
Then
the girl
we
that
got-
got King Solomon to like kill the husband? What was her name?
What the fuck was her name? Bathsheba?
Yeah,
Yep.
she was probably a Giga Stacy because she got a king with hundreds of bitches to be
Kill
like,
John the Baptist.
yeah, kill that guy's husband, kill that girl's husband. I want to sleep with her. But sir, my liege, you have 2,000 women in your palace. No. I want to put my whole morality on the line for that chick.
Yeah.
Leave it to guys. Alex Patillo for the $5.
Do not, I repeat, do not listen to women.
That's what you get for $5. Thank you very much. Have you guys heard of the satanic occult origins of feminism? No, but I do know it stems from Marxism. I do know that. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one.
No, everything I would imagine that has to do with equity is generally a collectivist ideology, and that comes from trying to make men and women more similar than they are different. And some would say that having people be more androgynous than separate sexes would tend toward the occult. But
I think you mentioned Boyle earlier, right, Chesty? I was looking at his Wikipedia page earlier, and it looks like he's a socialist.
which
So-
one?
Boyle, I think, the one you mentioned?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a socialist, I think.
Oh yeah. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Let's see. Nonstop Dre for $2. I need to get a $2 clip on here. Sorry guys, I'm in a different studio than my normal one. No man has more frame or game than government. No, you don't. That is true.
Can't
That
out to
is
the
true.
state.
No.
But it shouldn't stop you. Oh, there's that word. Shouldn't. Ugh. Nonstop Dre again for $2. It would be ironic if Matt Walsh was secretly one of the Rainbow people. Would
Not
be
at all, actually.
It would not
Would
surprise
not be
me at all.
ironic at all. It would be like,
Would not
oh,
surprise me.
okay, yeah.
The beard with a beard.
Mm. And Alex Patillo for another $5.
Do not, I repeat, do not listen to women.
For every $5, men get told that they should not listen to women by a woman. Thank you very much, Alex. Genghis Khan was the first PUA. Chip head, steal their woman. No was never in the menu. Well, from a certain point of view, not wrong. Not wrong. Go to Nuke's Patreon right here, guys.
I just published an article.
Yeah, Chesty, thank you so much for taking the time today and going through that gruesome amount of knowledge.
The
To
iceberg, man.
entertain.
The iceberg goes deep.
If as a send off, can I read a quote from that Mr. E.B. Bax, the kind of the OG Tomasi of the
Bench rest.
the men's
You have the
rights.
floor. You have
Okay.
the floor.
All right. In his essay, New and Old, from a series of essays called The Monstrous Regiment, published in 1907, he stated the following. Nowadays, anyone who protests against injustice to men in the interests of women is either abused as an unfeeling brute or sneered at as a crank. Perhaps in that day of a future society, my protests may be unearthed by some enterprising archaeological inquirer and used as evidence that the question was already burning at the end of the 19th century.
Oh my god.
I will be remembered as one of those who said that this was a problem. I will be avenged. I will be avenged. Yeah. So,
Poor guy.
he knew
Couldn't have happened to a better guy.
he knew he wasn't going to change shit, and he basically wrote in there that my epitaph will be "He tried," and people will pick up the banner and they will run with it, and they too will try, and so far we're seeing where that got them, pretty much nowhere. So. I leave you with that, and hopefully you guys learned something today about who's effective and who isn't and why. But otherwise, I'm gonna head out here shortly. If someone wants to talk to me a tiny bit after the show, but
I would love to.
okay, we'll wrap up the show then, I guess.
Yeah, we're gonna
anything. All right.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap this one up real quick. But Stripper comes in with a Canadian $10. Thank you very much for the $10. Shameless Substack plug, guys. Go to Stripper Substack. I'll plug it here. You know what? I don't know if I can do it from here, Stripper. Can I do that? Because that would save me a lot of fucking trouble. Ah, damn it. I can't do it from here. Otherwise, I would just make you a mod. That would have been easier. But since I am here...
You gotta do it on YouTube, right? You can't do it in...
Yeah, I know. And then I need to go there, and I need to go there. But I'm on a Substack already. Guys, here you go. Go to Stripper's Substack. And since you're on Substack already, since you're there already...
If I typed that in and I didn't see naked women, I would be very upset.
Yeah.
Or machines that strip floors, because sometimes
Whatever. That's right. If I didn't see some nicely redone hardwood floors there, I'd be pissed.
One of those two.
No. And since you're on Substack, go to mine as well. I'm dropping a new one tomorrow. So if you so please to follow me there, I would much appreciate it. But it's for the guys now. Plug your shit, guys, and then we can take it out. Cheers.
Subscribe to Jack's channel, guys. It's very useful stuff on here. So do that and you'd make me happy.
And my audience is happier and smarter than his. Yes, go ahead.
You can find me on Twitter. For some reason, I've had a huge spike in subscribers. I'm now well over 4,000 somehow. I follow exactly, I think, 26 people. All I do is shit post. I no longer produce content, thank God. And I come on the show every once in a while to do some research so you retards can be less retarded. And that's about it.
Yeah.
Nice. Nuke, go ahead.
So first off, unsubscribe from Jack's channel and subscribe to my channel. And number two, guys, this victim shit is it's going to lead you to depression, right? Remember, you are a human doing. Go do things. Like doing stuff is what's going to get you out of this hole that you think you're in, right? That's it. Do things. So,
Nice, Dave.
Scar Thumb podcast every Sunday before this this podcast or show, whatever you want to call it. Yep. Find out the latest craziness in video game.
yeah, get Dave. What are you at now, Dave?
I'm over 600.
Nice.
Are you
which is
monetized
pretty
yet?
Yeah, I can do super chats and the fan things of the the whatever you call them. Memberships. There you go. But I don't get played. I have to get to 1,000 to get the pay per click type of thing.
Okay. So yeah, get him to 1,000, guys.
Get Dave to
Heck
1,000 first, and
We're getting
I don't
there.
know, man. I don't know. I mean, if my chat gets full of retards, I might just nuke the whole channel, and then Nuke's dream will be fulfilled that he has a larger channel than I do.
Are you challenging me, Master Jedi?
Sir, you will have a larger channel than mine within a year. Don't worry.
I just got a cloud chase. Who do I have to dunk on, or who do I have to say has a small penis or something to get some clout around here? Wait, maybe I'll just get caught in a scandal or something.
Get
Get a hooker pregnant, preferably an Asian one.
Yeah.
Chinese
I'm
one.
already trying to do that. What the fuck? God damn it. Need to be more
Oh,
creative.
God. But guys, as for me, hit the like, subscribe if you haven't, comment down below your thoughts of this show. And if you want to support the channel, you can click the join button and get my version of the Book of Book audiobook for free. And Alex Patino, Nonstop Dre, thank you guys for all the super chats. And of course, Stripper, I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the support. And we'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, I have 4. But I don't think that will happen. Hopefully, I will have 3 very special guests. But you'll see then.
Ooh.
I'll see you guys soon. Cheers.
Bye.
Intrigue. Bye.